That's a tough guy. It's a well-rounded guy, very explosive, very dangerous through the entire fight. I really thought I had him finished in the second. He probably grabbed my glove 7 or 8 times, so that got tough. But, Chris Tagnoni, the ref did an awesome job. I really, really appreciate him, actually being on top of the action. Because like I said in an interview back there, I've been a back taker for a long time, and I'm no stranger to guys grabbing my glove. And you call it out, and they don't say anything. I had to call it out a couple times, but, ultimately he took a point, which was the right thing to do. So, it's hard to tell with judging and everything, but I wasn't parading around holding my hands up, not because I didn't think we got it. I just I popped my rib out on a kind of a failed takedown in the third. So I just wanted to hold myself up against the fence and let the judges do their thing. I don't need to parade around and put on smoke and mirrors. I'm going to do my work and then wait for the result. So yeah, I'm proud of the performance. It was tough. I've had some finesse performances in the UFC now, and I've had some grinds, and this was a grind, but I'm proud of that.
What was the game plan going into the fight?
Compete. I can't be lackadaisical in any position. The only spot I think I was on my back and closed guard in the third. In the first, I think it was a smart thing because I had got dropped. My equilibrium came right back as soon as we hit the ground, but I was going for submissions. I was not being content. In the third, a little content, but we got back up, and I started slinging again. So, yeah, it was competing for every single position. Can't be complacent, can't be lackadaisical. And when I did that, I think that was ultimately the difference.
He cracked you in the first round. How hurt were you? Were you dazed? Like what?
Surprisingly, no. I know that's the cliche thing. I wasn't hurt. I was when he hit me, and by the time my butt hit the floor, I was back. It was equilibrium. My legs felt great. Felt good getting right into the submissions right away. I gave a couple silent conversations with my corner, some nods and stuff, and we were fine, which is awesome. It's always a great feeling when you get hit and you're like, oh, okay, that was definitely his best shot. It's the first 2 minutes. You don't get more explosive than that, and we're still here. We're never out of a fight. So, yeah, God has blessed me tonight with a great performance and kept me sober-minded out there and in the present, and that's all I was praying for and asking for going into the fight, and that's exactly what happened. So I just feel super blessed tonight.
How does it feel to be back in the win column? I wanted to go back to your previous fight. It was your first loss in the UFC. What were the emotions like that night, and just kind of talk about that?
Yeah, it was similar to this fight in the sense it was close, but I was more complacent. I don't think I fought tooth and nail for the things that I needed to fight for. So that was a big thing, and it was a slow cook coming out of that fight. We had a fun third round in that last fight, and you came out on a high because we were competing. We were having fun. It was almost like a spar, but every passing day that went by was, it stung worse and worse and worse. And for 8 months I had to sit on that and stew on it. But ultimately it led me to a lot of great changes and to look at my own career, my own life in every single area, mentally, physically, spiritually, and it made me a better man and a better fighter. So while I wanted that win desperately, I probably wouldn't have got this one without that. So, God works in mysterious ways, and a lot of times it's years and years till I'll see why that happened. But in the short term, I can definitely see some benefits to that decision going his way. And that's ultimately what I have to do tonight is can't be a victim of getting my hand raised in a tough decision. I have to look at it and study it. And, the same way when I lost, go back to the drawing board, we're going to do the same thing after this, of course. So, so many good things to take out of wins and losses, and that's fighting. This game's changing so much. There's so much to learn every single time.
In your off time, you got able to compete against Cowboy. You tapped him. How'd that feel?
It was awesome. It really, I did a couple things like that. I went to the ADCC trials. I went 2-1 there. It's some of the best guys in the world. So it is tough to go into it's a completely different sport now and go compete. I did that. I did the UFC Fight Pass Invitational here against Gregory Rodriguez, who's a gigantic middleweight monster, and then Cowboy. But the big thing with that was exactly what I've been talking about, competing. I love to compete. And getting to the UFC, that pressure came in. I was 3-0 at the time. And start worrying about things I didn't worry about. Not image in a bad way where I'm like, not training or anything, but just going like, oh, man, this person doesn't think I'm good enough. That person doesn't. It does not matter. I got into this because I love to compete. And since I was a little kid, I wanted to find a way to make it my career. And I did that. And getting back to the Cowboy thing, it was just awesome to go out there. It was back home where I'm from, outside of Philly. And friends, family, my lifelong coach, John Hassett, coached me for it. So it was just the core essence of why I got into this, which is using what I've been given. And it was awesome. So that was, I think, the huge factor in coming back into fight week, reinvigorated, refreshed, and ready to compete. This is, 7-8 years from now, I'm not going to be doing this whether, no matter what, probably. I'm doing my math, but, or whatever, 10 years tops. It's all a blessing. Anytime I get to step out here and compete, it's an absolute blessing. And I think I forgot that for a while.
When would you like to get back in the cage?
As soon as possible. I got a little rib issue right now. We'll see how long that heals up. But, yeah, I think definitely before the end of the year. I'd like to be more active than I've been. But anytime I can get out here and compete, it's amazing. So I'll be ready when they call as long as I'm healthy. So That's it. Right now, I just want to get home, hug my wife, my daughter. It's been a long, tough week. A long, tough camp. So just get home, see my family, celebrate with them, and I'll be right back in the gym doing something on Monday. Teaching. I'll be teaching at Port City MMA, Salt Lake Valley Jiu-Jitsu Monday night, best I can. Probably nothing that involves twisting and turning. So, but yeah, I'm just excited to get back in the gym with my teammates, my coaches, my family, and this is a lifestyle for me. I just love to do it every single day.
Finally, for me, fantastic beard. Are you,
I appreciate that because some friends have been ridiculing me. Big Matt, yeah.
No, it's fantastic. I think you should keep it. Are you going to keep it?
It's up to my wife. I did it between fights. It was winter. Kept it for the Cowboy match. It was still kind of patchy. And she's like, you're not shaving that. I like it. So, yeah, as long as she says that, I got to keep her happy. And it's good, I fought Jim Miller. He's like the rugged guy. I was like, okay, maybe I'll get a little bit of that shine. And, I'm not a big flashy guy, so maybe I could be like, and now the performances I'm a grinder now too. So I guess I got to keep the rugged thing going. I don't know. We have Brian Barberina, our teammate, has like a legendary beard. So I got to go in there and, play second fiddle to that beard. But it's a good beard mentor, I guess.
Yeah, it is a fantastic beard, and congratulations.
Thank you.
When Dan Ige was here, he talked about, like, you believe your own hype. And you kind of touched on something similar with, it being a blessing. What happens? Well, what is it that this, takes you away from having a good time and being Joe?
Yeah, it wasn't believing my own hype. It was the opposite. It was, we shame ourselves all the time. It's what we do. But I think for a long time, I came up in this sport losing, in jiu-jitsu as a kid. I started at 6, and I didn't win anything until I was 16. And I think I took over for all those negative voices, whatever it may be. I became that for myself, and that's never a good thing. And what I do realize, and this is through, my faith, is that that's two sides to the same coin. Being arrogant and being so self-absorbed on the shame side is the same thing, It's still self-absorbed, And I said, I walked into that last fight almost overanalyzing every little thing I was doing, which is so not me. I'm a lifelong competitor. Tonight I was in a flow state. I got back to that, which is, it's just knowing that God has a plan for me and trusting in his plan. And, I said it backstage and all week, with my team and my family is if I truly believe the things that I believe and I try to be who I say that I am, then I have to go out there, at peace with what's going to be on the other side. That's God's plan for my life. So it's that. And then I can go out and compete freely. And, that's the biggest thing for me. So, yeah, just going out there and being myself and not overanalyzing it and not playing too far into the noise. This sport is crazy, I won a close decision. I said, I'm not going to go read the comments tonight. There's going to be, especially when you fight a Brazilian, like they're a very passionate crowd. Like I'm going to get some death threats and stuff, I'm sure. Or if you mess with anybody's parlay, do not mess with anybody's parlay. But yeah, it's just not playing into that nonsense. It does not matter because what I came to realize last time is it lasts from Saturday to Friday because next Saturday there's another card and they're on to somebody else. So just not playing into the nonsense, not playing into the negativity, and not being that person for myself. I got to let myself off the hook too. I got a great family, great coaches, great team, and with their help, I'm able to just be me out here and go do what it is that I do, which is compete and have fun.
Excellent, man. Thank you for that. And you touched on that decision. What was going through your head when they were reading the scorecards? So the majority is like, okay, what were they watching?
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's coming down to one guy's opinion, and that's the difference between your show money and your win money and your record in the UFC. It's all very, important stuff where I do think sometimes the guys in that position don't treat it with the reverence that it deserves. And it's not because they don't care, but I just think they're maybe not equipped, So that is tough. But I really can't be concerned with that. Ultimately, if I wanted a guarantee, I should have finished him, Probably would have helped if his fingers weren't inside my gloves almost double digits. But, it is what it is. So I was just waiting. That's why I wasn't running around dancing, singing. Ultimately, I don't think the judges are looking at that. He was putting on a performance, and that's fine. That's his personality. It's not mine. So I'm going to put out the best performance I possibly can and let the rest take care of itself. And, last time, we had to wait for the decision. It went to the other guy, and this time it went to me. So everybody's so tough. It's so competitive. I got to be okay with what's going to happen and be at peace with it. But I am truly blessed that I got my hand raised, and I'm living to fight another day. And that's all I can ask for.
Sounds good, Joe. And lastly, any names? You're not a big calling out person. That's not your style. But how soon do we get to see you back in the cage with that sweet new beard?
This is great, you guys. This is great for my self-esteem. Thank you. I appreciate this. I have some friends I'm going to show this to. Like, watch the interview. Listen to what they're saying. The beard's good. Whenever they have me. I'd like to stay active. I think late fall would be awesome. I'm seeing stuff get booked for like October already. It's crazy. So, before the new year would be awesome. At least, I've got to stay at least, we said 2.5 fights is probably the sweet spot. So, 3 in 12 months. So when did I fight last? 8 months ago. Another one before the end of the year would be spectacular. But I'll be ready. I'll be back to training, teaching, doing everything. I'm having fun. I'm having so much fun in the gym studying. working with new coaches sometimes. And I got the name that I want to call out are my coaches right there. Jeff Jim, our head coach, an absolute genius. I said to him backstage, every time I listen to you, great things happen. When I deviated, not so great things were happening. John Salter, my friend, my mentor, Zach DeLeon, these guys are great, man. They're so great, and I just can't thank them enough for being here this week. My boxing coach back home, Chris Gowd, who took me on, 7 years ago when I was the guard puller that you saw before you tonight, and taught me to have that confidence in my hands. And a new addition this time has been Alan Branch, kickboxing coach that had just moved to Wilmington, North Carolina. So now I'm not stuck traveling every time I want to kickbox. I have him a couple times a week. We just started working right before camp started here, so some things have to be implemented still, and it's been a big help as well. So I want to thank all of them and all the gyms that we train at. Salted Dog Jiu-Jitsu, Port City MMA, GMO in Belmont, North Carolina, where you'll see Brian Barberena out here next, and a bunch of guys in the UFC and other regional shows. Fitness Edge MMA, all those guys. That's who I want to call out. And most importantly, the two names I got to say thank you to is my wife and my daughter. I just love them absolutely with me through it all, and it's been amazing. So I don't have a name for you that I want to fight, but I have the names that I want to thank.
That sounds good, man. Brian has a big name coming up. How do you see that playing out?
I'm not going to pick against Brian Barberena, man. That guy, he beat death. So I don't think Robbie Lawler's tougher than that. So if you hear his story about the ruptured artery, that's scarier than anything he's going to see in the octagon. So we're riding with him always.
Right on, man. Thank you, sir, and look forward to your next bout.
Thank you.